Hello everyone and welcome to part 6 of our play along tutorial for Medieval Dynasty. This will be the last beginner video tutorial, and kind of sad to say that, but I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 to part 5. If this is your first time watching one of my tutorials and you're not familiar with the game Medieval Dynasty, I suggest you go back and start with one of the earlier tutorials, because I kind of expect you to know the basic controls and how to open certain menus and everything, because that's all been explained in previous tutorials. If you are a more advanced player of Medieval Dynasty or an intermediate player and you want to just check this video out, feel free to watch. And also at the bottom of every video there's chapters that you can check out in the description of the videos. So if you just want to review a specific thing, or there's some type of mechanic that you're not 100% about how it operates, feel free to check out the chapters in all my videos and find what you're looking for. So this is a play along video tutorial, which means it's a little different from a regular tutorial. I'd like for you to open the game and actually play along with me and just have fun and enjoy building and doing different quests and chapters in the game. So it's just a fun way to learn while doing. So let's start. We're in part 6, and in part 6 in this tutorial we are going to be learning a couple of things. Basically what we're going to be focusing on is how the resource storage and food storage buildings work. And we're also going to build a woodshed, and we're going to recruit a couple more villagers, and finally we're going to complete chapters 4 and 5 of the game, and that will bring us to the point where we have enough dynasty reputation points to get us to 20 buildings. And by that point you'll have all the most necessary buildings created, or at least the basic ones. And from there you can go on to build a barn, a farm shed, and expand your farming, and basically just, learn kind of on your own, because you have all the basics you need to succeed. So let's take a quick look at our map just to go over where we are. So this is our current location right here, and this is the hunting lodge. We have a well and a workshop in this general area, and we also have a house here for our villagers, and our house is over here near the waterfalls. We chose this location because there's a lot of maple trees, it's a pretty location, and it's not too far from Gostovia, and also not too far from Sambor, who, you have to visit several times to progress in the main storyline quest. However, bases can be built anywhere, so no problem whatsoever. The other advantage of this area is a large amount of flat land with no trees in this general area, and also there is a clay resource very close by. So it's just generally a good place to start out. So what we're going to be doing is, we have 5 buildings built, and we have 2 of our villagers. Their mood is currently decreasing because they are lacking in firewood. Now, to be able to get them firewood, what we need is the woodshed. So that's the next thing that we're going to be building right now. I want you to get ready to build the woodshed, which means you're going to need an axe, and you're going to need to chop down a bunch of trees. Now feel free to chop down trees right in your village, because as long as you don't remove the stump, like here, the trees will grow back in about 2 years, so you don't have to worry about deforesting your village. It's not a problem. So please start collecting a bunch of wood and sticks. You're also going to need straw for the roof of the woodshed. Not too many though, because it's not a building that requires that much in terms of resources to build. You also get sticks by cutting down trees, and feathers as well, so you can collect sticks individually, or you can just cut down a bunch of trees and you'll get sticks that way as well. Alright, once you have the requisite materials, You can just place the woodshed wherever you want it to be. And we just got a new skill point from all our collection. So I'm just going to put it right here next to this house. Opening Q for a build menu, going to buildings, and the woodshed is under extraction, and it's right here. Just put it anywhere where it turns green. Switch to your build hammer, and let's build this foundation. And we also need some logs for the framing. And then at the back we're going to need, oh, we're missing a log, so. And we need some straw, which we don't have. I believe I have some in a chest in this house, so let's go see what I have in storage here. Yes, I do, so let's take all this. And we have a couple logs in here too, so let's take those. And might as well take the sticks as well. Alright, let's finish up our woodshed. And then I'll explain a little bit about the woodshed and how it works. Alright, so our woodshed is complete. You can see that it didn't take that long to build or that many resources to collect, so it's something you can do fairly quickly. Once you have a woodshed built, you can go to this carpenter's rack and you can craft firewood and you can craft planks. Now for each log you get 4 firewood, and for each log you get 2 planks. So right now we're more in need of firewood than we are in need of planks, so let's craft all our logs and turn them into firewood. If you have fast crafting enabled, this shouldn't take too long. I strongly recommend you enable fast crafting. It makes the game so much more enjoyable. Now we have 12 firewood, which is what the last thing that our villagers need to be happy. As you can see in the upper left, it's the last thing that we require. That's in red. It's that little icon is firewood right there. So what we're going to do, since we don't have a resource storage building yet, so we're going to place the firewood directly into their house. Once we've done that, you'll see the icon disappear, and then you'll also see their moods are now increasing. Now just quickly while we're here, I'm going to talk a little bit about mood. So basically, you don't have to worry too much about the mood of your villagers. As long as it's not in the red, they will work, and it's not something you need to be concerned with that much. Once you get to a minus 30% in the negative, so minus 30%, you see these little faces will turn red, and you'll also get an icon here on the upper right, an unhappy face. And at that point, you're going to need to start worrying about your villagers' happiness, because they will eventually just leave your village and go off. So be careful of that. You have a lot of time, several days before they leave. So you don't have to rush around, make sure they have everything immediately, but just keep an eye on it. And you know, the better their mood, the happiness, generally speaking, the better. They'll probably work harder, and they'll probably be more likely to, you know, who knows, get relationships. It's not that clear what mood influences, but generally speaking, it's going to assume that keeping it high is probably the best thing to do. So to keep your villagers' mood high, it was explained in the previous video, but just quickly, you need food, water, you need wood, and you also need a place for them to live. So those are the 4 things that your villagers require, and also to place them in a job that they aren't terrible at. So you see there's a 1, which means they're unskilled, and there's a 3, which means they're very skilled. The more you match their job with the area they're skilled at or their preference, the faster their mood will increase. Now, when you have a villager who has several areas that they're proficient in, for example, Kunigunda is good at farming, she's good at survival tasks, and she's good at production tasks. If you're not sure which is her preference, you can simply go up to her and talk to her, small talk. So she's sleeping right now, so let's all sleep so we can speak to her tomorrow. Alright, so you talk to her, you're going to go to small talk, and you're going to say, can you tell me something about your skills? And then she says, a fine craftswoman knows how to cook her food well too. So what that means is she likes production, because cooking is a production skill. Once you get used to that, you'll know which jobs are related to which skills. So the kitchen is a production skill. So basically she'd prefer a production job. And if you want to know what she's terrible at, you can say she doesn't get along with other people. So basically she doesn't like diplomacy. So going back, if we go back and we check out management, so here we have extraction, hunting, farming, diplomacy, survival, and production. So basically this is her preferred job, cooking in the kitchen, and this is her least favorite job, which is diplomacy. Now for her it's fairly obvious because she only has number one on her list, but for example for Ansgar, he has 2 ones. So when we discuss with him what his least favorite job is, we can ask him and he'll tell us one of these 2. So yeah, basically just try as much as possible to sort your people into jobs that they prefer, and that will also increase their mood, make them happier. Now that we have our woodshed built, the next thing that I'm going to ask you to build is going to be a resource storage building. Now this is far more time consuming and a bit of a pain in the ass to collect all the resources for, unfortunately. You're going to need a lot of logs, a lot of sticks, and a lot of straw. So I'm going to pause the game here, and I'm going to ask you to build a resource storage building. You just need an area of flat land. Go to queue, buildings, go to storage, and go to resource storage, which is the first one at the bottom here, and then just find a place where it turns green and place it there. And then after you're done with that, you're going to have to run around and collect a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And it might take a little while, but that's okay. So just collect everything you need. Now, before you actually place the building, just let me give you a couple of pointers about it. You're going to be going in and out of the resource storage building a lot. It's going to be the building that you use and go in and out of the most in the entire game. And a resource storage building is super important, obviously, because it's going to contain most of your non-consumable resources, meaning not food or drink. Consumable in this case doesn't mean something that gets used up. Consumable in this game means food or drink. So when it says a non-consumable resource, it means something that isn't a food or a beverage. And that's where everything's going to be stored that isn't food or drink, and it'll be in your resource storage building. So that's why its placement is super important. Please make sure to place your resource storage building somewhere very central, somewhere you're going to be constantly going in and out of, constantly passing by. You definitely don't want it located somewhere far or difficult to access. So yes, definitely consider where you want your resource storage to be. I'm just going to be placing it right at the center of my village, right near this path right here, because I walk by here all the time. So we're just going to put it back wherever it turns green, and there it is, it's placed. Now, as you can see, just to build the foundation, you're going to need 10 logs. If you're lucky and your foundation's made out of stone, you're going to need some of that as well. And then once you've built that, you're going to need a ton more logs for the framing and the roof and everything. Probably about 20 to 30 logs necessary to build this building. So we're going to pause here, pause the video, and then once you're done collecting a bunch of logs and building your resource storage building, unpause the video. And don't forget, your straw is located right over here near the bridge or right over here in Gustovia. There's a few other locations, but those are the two closest ones. All right, get cracking and let's finish up this building. Okay, so we have completed our resource storage building. And now I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how they work. And the first thing that I'm going to explain to you is how to access their management page. First, you can run up to this signboard and click E to manage. Or you can also just go in your inventory, go to management, go to storages in the building section here, and just click resource storage, then F to open details. Now the description is a type of storage. All non-consumable resources gathered by workers are transferred here. Capacity of storages is shared. Now a couple of things. All non-consumable resources gathered by the workers are transferred here. So basically anytime your workers produce anything that isn't food or drink, it will be stored in your resource storage and it will no longer be stored in each individual work site. So at that point, now that we have this resource storage building, every subsequent item that our workers produce is going to be stored here. But everything that they've produced up until we build this building is going to be at the actual building site, still in the chest. So we got to go pick those up. The other things that you need to pay attention to is that it's not just resources gathered by your workers that are put in here. You also place in this building anything that you want your workers to have access to. So basically, for example, for our hunting lodge, they need knives to be able to hunt. And up until now, we've placed the knives that we've made for them inside the chest in the hunting lodge itself. But now that we have a resource storage building, we can simply place the knives inside the chest in the resource storage building, and the hunters will come and collect their tools as they need them for work. So it is basically a central location for everything that your workers produce that's not food and water or etc. For them to place here and also for them to take from here. So that's very handy. And you do not need to direct them to do that, they'll just do it automatically. The second thing that we should look at is the capacity of the storages is shared. So let's look at the capacity. You can see here that the capacity of this resource storage building, number 1, is 1,000 kilograms. So basically, it means that the more things that you place in this resource storage building, the more full it will become, and eventually it will max out its capacity. Now, at that point, you can do one of two things. You can build or upgrade, to a better resource storage building. And these higher level resource storage buildings have more storage capacity. And another point to keep in mind is that you do not need to destroy a lower level resource storage building to upgrade it. You can simply upgrade the current building. So don't tear it down, just upgrade it as it is. Right now we don't have the ability to upgrade our buildings because we haven't unlocked that yet. But once you do, it will be in your right click menu on your mouse. And here we have build, we have repair, and we have destroy. And eventually you'll have upgrade and, insulate and a bunch of other different options. So you can upgrade the building to increase your max storage if you have the technology points to do so. The other thing that you can do to upgrade your storage is simply to build another resource storage building. And all of the resource storage buildings that you build will have the same chest, basically, if you think of it that way. Now this is kind of a video game mechanic. For example, what would be some examples in other video games? If you're a fan of Minecraft, if you can consider ender chests and how you have access to everything in them regardless of which chest you access the items from, the storage is all shared. Or I believe Zelda is like that. Anything you store is accessible regardless from which area you access it from. There's several video games like that. Resident Evil, or Biohazard if you prefer, from Asia. The chests that you store your items in, they're all shared. So if you put items in one chest and then you run around to another area and you open a chest, you'll still have the items that you put. So basically consider that each resource storage building is like some kind of magical building that all points to the same chest, basically. And the chest for the resource storage building is right here. This is really the only thing you can interact with in this entire building. There's a couple other like bags and whatnot, but you can't interact with any of these items. They're just decorative. So when you run in, you're just going to go to the chest and you're going to store everything in here. Now it's good to just basically empty out your inventory. You don't want too many things like weighing you down. Just keep whatever you don't need that much of and store it. Like, I don't really need these deer figurines, and it's a lot of straw, so I'm just gonna store half, and so on and so forth. So just, keep your inventory relatively clean so you don't become over encumbered with anything. And the other way you can quickly see what's in your resource storage building if you're not sure what you have is to go to your management menu, click your resource storage building, click F to open details, and here. This will show you what's in your resource storage building. So for example, if you're in Gustovia and you want to know if you have something or if you need to purchase something or how much fertilizer you have left, you don't have to run all the way back to your village to check. You can simply open up your menu, click the resource storage building, and click this little chest icon here, and it will show you exactly what you have in storage. So that's handy. Now, while we were collecting all the things for this, I did get a couple of technology points. So I unlocked the Herbalist Hut. I don't particularly find the Herbalist Hut to be that useful, but the thing it is useful for is for your healing potions. For the rest of it, like different potions of weight, temperature, and so on and so forth, I mean, yeah, they're handy, but you actually collect a fair number of these potions simply by finding treasure on the side of the road or overturned carts, etc. So I found that was more than sufficient for me. I didn't get injured all that often, so broadleaf plantain was generally more than enough for me. However, for example, if you're going to go attack a bear at the beginning stages of the game, well, you're going to get hurt, so having a potion of healing would probably be ideal. It depends on your playstyle, but the Herbalist Hut will produce different things for you, like these different potions, so they can be handy. I got a couple of skills while I was cutting down a lot of trees for logs for that resource storage building, so I'm going to put one of these here. I mean, I think I'm good with extraction knowledge, so I'll just stick with that. Slower durability loss is always handy, so these two are also good skills to develop. Treasure Hunter, not particularly useful because you don't declay that much in the game, but it's up to you. It sounds really great, but I've never really found anything in those clay pits that I couldn't find elsewhere more easily. So leave this one for last, I guess, in my opinion. The other skills that we got are in survival, or as I call it, fishing, because it looks like fishing, but it is survival. I've already maxed survival knowledge, and I picked one strong as an oak. but I think now I'd like to go with Survival Sense. Now this one's handy, especially if you're a beginner. Definitely grab Survival Sense. And the other thing you can use is Survivalist, which will slow down your water and hunger meter. So that's also handy. But it's up to you what you'd like to upgrade. Those are your skill points, so do with them as you wish. But let me show you what Survival Sense does. So when you choose the Survival Sense skill, basically if you hold down the Alt key, you're going to see highlighted anything that you can collect in terms of resources. So sticks on the ground, plants that you can harvest and collect, all of those will be highlighted. But the main thing that I like it for is stone. As you can see, stone, no stone, no stone, no stone, no stone. Stone can be fairly difficult to find sometimes, especially if you're just picking it up as you go along. See, here we are. We have some stone here. You can mine stone, of course. That's totally an option if you want a pickaxe, but pickaxes weigh a fair amount. So, you know, it's also good to just grab them as you go along. And holding down the Alt key will highlight those little stones that are hard to see. And also it makes collecting at nighttime possible, whereas if you don't have this ability, at nighttime it's really hard to see where any of the things are. Even if you have a torch, it's a limited visibility. So yeah, so the sense is very handy. Just hold down Alt and it will illuminate things that you can grab and collect and harvest. It does take a bit of stamina, but your stamina will regen as soon as you let the key go. So that's a good skill to have, especially for beginners in my opinion. So now what we have are two of the buildings that we need and that we're going to build for this video. We have our woodshed right here and our resource storage building right there. So the issue that we're currently facing is that we do not have villagers for our well, our workshop, or our woodshed. Now the workshop is not that big of a deal because we can create things ourselves whenever we happen to need them, because we don't need that many things right away. However, the workshop does produce items for you to sell, so that's handy if you want to make money. But for now, I think the most important would be to get a villager who works the well and a villager who's going to start collecting logs and sticks for us, because chopping down trees is one of my least favorite things to do in this game, and so someone helping us collect logs, it will be very, very handy. But before we collect, these villagers, we don't have a house for them, so we're going to need a house, and we also are running low on food, not just for ourselves, but also for our villagers, so we're going to have to hunt a little bit as well. So let's get a drink of water while we're here. And as you can see at the upper left, our villagers are currently out of food. Let's check our inventory and see what we have. We have 8 roasted meat. So I'm going to put that in their chest. And I'm going to give that to them. And I'm going to go hunting for food for myself and for the new villagers that we're going to recruit. The other thing that we can check out before we go through all that trouble is to go check what our kind hunters have collected for us. And that will be in the hunting lodge. Remember, we have not built a food storage building, so any food or drink is still going to be in the individual locations. Oh yes, so we have some dried meat here. So let's take all that out. Actually, let's take everything out. Oops, I forgot to press E. There we go. Take all that. And we'll leave the stone knife in here. Well, actually, we can move that to the resource storage building as well. So let's do all that. So now we have some food that we can cook and we can give to our new people. So actually we don't have to hunt. But on the way back to Gustovia, I'm just going to go and hunt a little bit anyways, because if you look at the upper right, you're going to see that we have a chapter, which is chapter 4, and one of the requirements is that we hunt boar or fox, and we need to hunt 3 of them. So let's just put the fur, the leather, some of the feathers. They're not heavy, but still, we don't need our log right now. The meat we're going to cook. Remember, don't store food in here because your villagers don't take them out of here. This isn't a food building. They will ignore any food you place in there. So if you want food accessible, you have to build a food storage building, or you have to place it in their chest. Alright, now we can also cook the meat that we have in our inventory. I have a fair amount of just regular meat, so let's roast that up. And again, fast crafting is your friend, so you don't have to watch this 42 times. There we go. All done. Alright, let's top up our hunger and eat a bunch of this, so we're all nice and full. Excellent. So, are we almost evening? Yes, we are. I'm probably going to sleep before I go out hunting and head to complete the chapter 4, because I don't want to be hunting at night. It's very difficult to spot animals at night. You can, in the skill set, which I have forgotten the hotkey for, but in any case, in here, in the hunting section, there is, yeah, here it is, tracker. It's one of the skills that you can use to highlight animals as well. So remember when you can highlight by holding Alt things you can collect? Well, if you get that skill, which is called tracker, you can highlight and then you can see every animal in the area as well. So that's also handy to have. It allows you to hunt more easily at night, but even so, hunting at night is difficult because you generally want to headshot almost every single animal you can. Alright, let's head into our house and get some sleep so we can see everything clearly and we're not hunting at night. Alright, now when you're looking for specific animals, depending on how much you've explored the map, you can go to the map and go to the filter section and go to wild animal filter, and everywhere that you've actually explored, you will start to notice where wild animals are. And this is a way to find specific animals. Now for each little icon, there's usually 2 to 3 animals of that type available. So looking for boar or foxes, we have boar fairly close by, so we're gonna put our waypoint here so we know where we're heading. Now just remember that boar and foxes can both attack you, which means that you're gonna want to make sure you have broadleaf plantain in your inventory to heal up if you get injured too much. You're also going to need a bow, and you're going to need some stone arrows. Now for me, 26 is more than enough. If you're very uncomfortable with hunting and you mess up, you're going to need more maybe, but probably no more than 20. Let's hope you're not that bad. But if you are, that's okay. You just get better with practice. So get your bow ready and make sure you're good to go and you have everything you need. I'm going to ask you to pause the video here and just make sure that you have everything equipped. You've got broadleaf plantain, at least 30 of them, and you've got Stone arrows, enough, at least 20, maybe about 30 would be ideal. You're also gonna want to have a stone axe ready. Please check at the bottom right that it's not about to break, because if you're in dire straits, the stone axe is going to be your best friend at the current time. It does the most melee damage. If you don't have a bow, you can steal one from Tukti, or Tuktki. I have trouble saying this village. In Tuktki, there is a bow that you can steal from this building here, I believe. So you can get one there, or you can spend money to build one to unlock the recipe, which I believe is in the hunting lodge. Yes, you can spend 100 coin to unlock the recipe and build one yourself if you have the right ingredients that you need to build it. I believe you also will need to purchase some linen string from a seamstress to be able to put together a bow. If you don't have a bow and you don't want to get a bow, you can try to do this all with stone spears, but it's so much easier when you have a bow. Strongly recommend a bow. Alright, let's head out hunting. Part 3 of my tutorial videos explains in more detail how to hunt, how to practice for hunting. So I'm not going to go in too much detail, but I am going to basically explain what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So once you spot an animal, you're going to get to a reasonable distance, and then you're going to crouch and sneak up until you have a clear shot to their head. Now don't get too close, because they'll notice you. If they start to walk towards you, you back off. It may be time consuming until you get a good shot with good visibility, but that's what you have to do. You have to be patient. Now you can run there, guns blazing, axes swinging, etc., but you're going to get hurt. And then you're going to have to heal yourself, so just be aware. Here we are. So you're going to want to get a headshot as much as possible. If you get a headshot, the boar will run away from you, not towards you. And at that point, you can chase the boar and hit it with your axe, or you can shoot it with your bow. It's up to you. Personally, I just like chasing it and getting it with my axe. It saves arrows, and shooting while running is, you know, hit or miss, even for people who've played the game a long time. Alright, so we have our first boar, and now we're going to try to find the second one, because there's usually 2 to 3, but for boar I think there's usually 2. So let's see if we can find the second one. Now, if you're unlucky and you don't get a headshot, the boar will start to squeal in anger, and eventually it will charge you, at which point you can do one of two things. You can run away. You have enough stamina that you can outrun the boar if you're on a full stamina charge, I guess. Or you can just try whacking it with your... I think I'm getting close here, but we'll see how it goes. You can try whacking it with your... Where did you go? With your axe. That sneaky boar. There it is. Alright, shoot it in the head. And chase it down. There you go. You've also increased a hunting level. Good job. Alright, we skin it with a stone knife. And then a boar will give us, on the left, 3 leather and 8 meat, which is good. I'm going to always collect things as I go, because you never know when they're going to be handy. If you see a bunch of stone just sitting out in the open, definitely grab it. Alright, let's continue heading towards our foxes now. So, on the main menu in the map, we have some foxes, but they're a bit far. So they're all the way over here. So let's place our waypoint marker, F to get rid of the previous one, and F to set a new one. Do be careful of wolves. They are one of the more aggressive and dangerous animals at the current time. If you have a villager quest to kill wolves, I would decline it, at least initially. They will hurt you and do a fair amount of damage as well. So definitely save wolves and other larger, more aggressive animals like bears and you know, anything with big antlers. What's the other one? I forget what it's called. Where are you? Wisent, that's it. They're like buffalo. They're really big and they will really hurt you. So definitely stay away from those, and just be careful around the more dangerous animals, because you definitely can die. For Wisent and other animals like bear, I would suggest you not attack them until you have at least iron level weaponry and also several healing potions. Unless you're very good at it, good at the game, and very lucky. Remember, almost any animal you can run away from. However, some animals like Wisents are faster than you. So it's actually very difficult to run away from a Wisent, so be very careful with those guys, because they will charge you and push you very far and take at least half your health every time they smack you. Alright, we're looking for foxes, which are difficult to spot. They're small. Oh, there's one. Excellent. Crouch once you get close enough and try to aim for the head. Oh, I didn't get the head, so as you can see, when you don't get the head, they attack you and do a little bit of damage. The foxes aren't that scary. They don't hurt that much when they do attack you, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So we completed chapter 4, and now we have chapter 5, which is a farming quest. And we got a diplomacy skill, which is good as well. Birds are a great way to collect feathers and whatnot. So, you know, if you don't have feathers, you can chop down trees or you can shoot birds. They also give a surprising amount of meat, and they die fairly quickly. It takes usually just one arrow, and you don't even have to worry about getting them in the head. You just need to basically hit them. They do have a better view, as in you may wish to shoot them from a further distance if possible, because it's much harder to get close to a bird than a regular animal. Alright, so now next let's do chapter 5, a farm. Let's go and do the handcrafting that they're asking for, if we can. Oh, we don't have a log, so let's just cut down a tree. Any tree will do. Maple's got more logs per tree. more bang for the buck, I guess you could say. Do be careful when you're cutting down trees. They will kill you if they fall on you, and the game can be a bit glitchy about about that. I've definitely had a tree kill me when I wasn't even close to being under it. It was just a glitch, so. Alright, handcrafting. Let's get that hoe done. On the upper right, you can see we're supposed to craft a wooden hoe. And we're also supposed to craft a simple bag, and you should have enough leather for that. If you don't, just kill animals until you get the leather you need. Excellent. And deer are good for leather. The next thing we need are a bunch of things from the Stovia. We need fertilizer, carrot seed, wheat grain, and cabbage seed. Now all of those things are going to cost money, so let's think about how much money we're going to need for that. I also want to buy a sickle so we can get that flax that we grew and harvest it. So probably a fair amount of money. And let's see what we have in our inventory. Only 350, that's not going to be enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what I strongly recommend you do at the beginner stages of the game. You're going to craft a bunch of stone knives. Ideally at least 20. Let's see. Excellent. If you don't have the resources for that, just pause the video here and just go and grab enough stone and sticks until you can craft about 20. Unless you have more money than me. You may very well have more money than me. Because if you recall, I accidentally sold my mead or my ale that I needed for a quest. And then I had to buy it back. And it cost more than what I sold it for. You also can pick up any treasure that you find lying around, which I am not doing because I do not want to have items on me that players don't have. Since treasure is somewhat randomized, that means I don't want to pick up any treasure at all. Now let's go find our merchant farmer, and that's indicated by a sheath of wheat and a bag, like you can see at the top middle of the screen right here. So this is where our merchant is. And here is our merchant, Edwin. Let's talk to him and let's buy the things we need. So let's go over fertilizer, carrot seed, wheat grain, and cabbage seed.
Hail, friend.
I might forget that. I apologize if I do.
Whatever you need.
First thing, let's sell all those stone knives, excuse me, that we made for 400-ish, 420 if I sell 21. Excellent. And that gives us 770 coin, which should be enough to buy what we need. So, cabbage seed was one of them, right? We need 15 of those. And carrot seed was also one of them, so 15 of those. What else? Fertilizer, 15 of that. The last was wheat, I think, right? Wheat grain. Alright, I got 15. And the last thing I wanted to get is a stone sickle for us to be able to harvest our flax. So don't forget to buy one of those. Whew, we just had enough. 72. Farewell. Look at us getting all that stuff. Now we need to head back to our village. We need to grub up a field, fertilize a field, plow a field, and sow a field. Now, while I'm running back, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about food storage buildings. We're not going to build one in this video. It's basically the same thing as a resource storage building. It works in the same way. You access and interact with it in the same way. Oh, I'm dirty. I'm going to run in the water. And what you want to do with that is you're just going to be putting all the food, instead of in the villagers' individual houses, you're going to put the food in the food storage building. And the same goes with water, milk, juices, or anything like that. And your villagers will have access to all of that at the central location of the food storage building. The other thing you can consider when placing the food storage building is, again, you want it in a central location because you want it to be easily accessible. You're going to be going there less frequently than resource storage, but still frequently enough. And so definitely put it somewhere central. And then once you've built your kitchen, it is kind of handy to have the food storage building and the kitchens next to each other, simply so that when you are making food for yourself, you can very easily just grab the ingredients for the recipe and then just pop in the kitchen and cook it all up. So once you've placed your food storage building, leave a chunk of space next to it for the kitchen. And that's the most convenient way to organize your village.